Hi. It's been a little while. It's been a very long week, week and a half for me and my husband. So, didn't really film anything last weekend and kind of been on and off with reading. But when I was putting my notes together, I do have surprisingly a lot to talk about. So, let's just dive right into it. Again, filming later at night, so sorry about the ring light bouncing all up and down, all about in my glasses. What have I finished since we last talked? Well, I finished The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. Let's take a moment to appreciate how well matched these sprayed edges are to this cover, and it is a good cover. I do enjoy this cover. So this is a novel where a sci-fi dystopian murder mystery. It's set on this island where at some point in the future some sort of apocalypse has happened, and the apocalypse is in the form of this deadly fog. Now this fog surrounds the island, and for reasons it doesn't touch the island. So the last people alive in the world are the people who inhabit this island, and a murder happens. Now, there's a lot more to it than that, and I don't want to say more than that because I feel like it may be a spoiler, because a lot of this is not just the murder mystery, but also the unraveling of and reveals of what happened to the world and who these people are and why they survived, and etc. So it's not just the murder mystery, it is also the mystery of these people and the world and everything. But I will say, and I will talk about this and my main issue with this and why it didn't truly work for me. I will talk about it now, and I will put spoilers here. You learn you learn the fact that I'm going to talk about very early on in the book, like almost immediately. But I didn't really know that going in, and I feel like it is kind of just a fun thing to learn as you read. But I do want to talk about it because it is the main problem point for me. So, spoilers starting now. So, the main problem for me with this is that it takes place in the point of view of an all-knowing, all-seeing AI. And the problem with that sort of perspective in a murder mystery is that your narrative point of view knows everything. Your narrative point of view knows the answer to the murder, knows the answer to the mystery, knows the answer to everything. But to keep this going as a murder mystery, it has to come up with ways and reasons. The author and the narrative have to come up with ways and reasons to not give you, the reader, that information. And the ways that this information is held back from you are stupid. I'm just going to do that. It's stupid. It's infuriating. It's a very frustrating point of view to be in. And I finished this and I didn't really review it right away because I wasn't sure how I felt about it. But eventually I did give it 2 stars because I just could not appreciate the point of view that we were given. And on top of that, because we have this AI character, we have a sort of remove from the characters that are actually humans, that are actually living in the story, and, you know, the one who is murdered, the detective, all the suspects, everybody living on this island. Because the AI is narrating, we're getting this perspective, this third person point of view for the characters, where it's kind of like the AI is telling you what the characters thought and felt, maybe what they could have thought and felt. Maybe is it inferring, is it actually thinking? Because the AI is in everybody's heads, it can see and feel everything. So yeah, okay, the AI knows what they're thinking and feeling, but it still feels a bit removed from the characters and stuff. So also the last quarter just kind of fell apart for me entirely. So unfortunately, this is a big disappointment. It's a beautiful book. I bought it because I was super excited. I loved the idea, but it was a disappointment for me. It didn't land for me. So Unfortunately, I gave this 2 stars. Next, I finished up Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. Now, there's so much I want to talk about this book, but also I can't because it's all spoilers. But I will say that this is a very metatextual narrative in various ways. It is metatextual in how it approaches gay culture. It's metatextual in how it approaches writing and screenwriting in Hollywood. How it's satirical. It's just it follows our main character Misha as he is going on a 2nd or 3rd season of this TV show he's writing, where the 2 main female characters have had this subtextual thing going on, and he's finally going to have them confess their feelings for each other, but the studio wants him to kill them off. Thus the bury your gaze trope. And this then kicks off like this really weird, gory, disturbing, funny, sad, reflective journey for Misha. And it just like, it touches on so many things. It touches on homophobia, the all-encompassing, all-reaching pull of capitalism, who you are as a person, and when is it okay to come out, and is coming out the same for everybody, what that looks like, what gay sadness looks like in the bury your gaze tropes, what gay joy is. There's so much. And there were parts of the book that kind of lost me a little bit, especially in the metatextual screenwriting writer kind of moments. But just as a whole, it really worked for me. Very gory. I will say that, very gory. Not as scary. Like, there were a couple of like intense scenes that did creep me out a little bit, but it wasn't super scary. So I think if you can deal with gore, and like if you're a big weenie with horror, I think this is okay. It's more gory than it is scary, I think. So I think that's okay. But ended up giving 4 stars. It was a lot of fun. It didn't quite reach the heights that Camp Damascus did for me last year, but I think it's just fun. It really just, Chuck Tingle seems to have a lot to say about gay identity, gay culture, and different aspects of it. Camp Damascus was one aspect of it. This is another aspect of it. And I really hope he continues down this horror novel journey exploring gay identity and gay culture, because I just, it's so interesting, and I think it's so fun what he's doing. So 4 stars, definitely a recommendation if it sounds interesting at all to you. So check it out. Okay, I'm doing my best not to be super low energy. I'm trying. So what's next? I DNF'd Termination Shock by Neal Stephenson. Try to get the ring light out of the way. Didn't realize the cover kind of had like the extra text and stuff under light. I've never read Neal Stephenson before. I've always been interested. I was kind of hankering for like a all-encompassing, multiple character, end of the world kind of situation. I do enjoy those books when, I'm in the mood for them. This was a terrible introduction to Neal Stephenson for me, I have to say. I think it was 130-ish pages in, 140 pages in, and nothing had happened. And this book is 700 pages long. I can deal with like long meandering narratives and stuff like that, but when I tell you I did not need to know as much as I did about this one character and his history with a boar, literally a wild boar, it was just kind of mind-numbing, and it didn't seem to be getting any better. And as much as I really wanted a thick, good, engrossing, multi-character narrative like this, but this just didn't do it for me. So maybe maybe I'm going to hang on to this. So maybe another year or two, I'm going to give it another shot. But for now, unfortunately, it's a DNF. Next, I finished Lost Ark Dreaming by Suyi, Davies, Okungbowa. This is a sci-fi dystopian novella that focuses on it's climate fiction, and it focuses on a post-apocalyptic Nigeria, or off the shore Nigeria, where these 5 skyscrapers were built, and eventually climate change, rising ocean waters, eventually now all that's left is 1 skyscraper, and it is stratified in the way most dystopian things are. I think the author does, in his acknowledgments, he lists his influences, and one of the influences is Snowpiercer. If you've ever read the Snowpiercer comics or watched the movie, you know that it's post-apocalyptic, and there's a train, and the culture is very stratified, where the have-nots are all the way in the back and the haves are all the way in the front. It's the same here, where you have the lowers, the middles, and the uppers. And we follow characters as they are forced together, as they... It's so hard to explain this because a lot of what happens in the book is not really alluded to in the synopsis. It's 3 characters who are forced together on this sort of thriller situation where the stake of humanity and the tower is at stake. And this is comped a lot to The Deep by River Solomon, which is based on a rap song by the rap group Clipping. And they're very heavily influenced. That is a really good comp to this. This is less of a character study like The Deep was, and more of a societal thrill ride compared to The Deep. But the comp is there if you're looking for something similar. And it was enjoyable. I did end up giving it 4 stars. Like, when I was reading it, I was having a good time. I liked the story. There were aspects of it, like there are aspects of this where like there are news reports as the world is falling apart, and there are poetic interludes and stuff like that. So I don't want to say too much. I wish I could say more because this does deserve to find its audience. But I think a lot of the joy of this was just following the characters as things unraveled. So it was interesting. It was fun. If you're looking for climate fiction, sci-fi dystopian climate fiction that is from a completely non-American Eurocentric point of view, you know, this is Nigerian centric, I would absolutely recommend this. And it's a very short read. So 4 stars, Lost Ark Dreaming. Next, I read 2 graphic novels, the first of which was Us by Sara Soler. This is a nonfiction memoir about a couple where one of the couple discovers they are trans, and how that affects them as a couple, and as they both end up wrestling with gender identity, sexual identity, and all of that. It was really good. It was actually, you know, it was better than I expected. The cover is nothing like the art. The art inside is actually very comic, you know, online comic-y cute art, but it really works. It uses only the colors of the trans flag, which is really cool. And it follows Sarah and Diana as Diana just comes out as trans, and Sarah wrestles with that. But also, as we watch their relationship grow and evolve and see how they grapple with all of these feelings, there are interspersed like moments of education where the characters kind of stop and explain things to you. So as someone who is mostly aware of everything they were talking about, that didn't do a lot for me. I really, really enjoyed the relationship stuff a lot more than the lecture-y parts. But I do have to say, this is translated from Spanish, and I do not know what trans life is like in Spain, so this could actually be something that is super important for its demographic in Spain. So I can't really, you know, knock that down for too much for, you know, because I know I have been exposed to more of this than someone in Spain hasn't, you know. So 4 stars. It was a very enjoyable read, very cute art, very good art actually. And I would actually recommend it if you have any people in your life who are still confused about trans identity and stuff like that. This is actually really good, because the combination of the personal journey of these 2 characters along with the lecturing works really well. So I would recommend it for that, actually, very highly. The second graphic novel I read was Cosmoknights Volume 2. I really enjoyed Volume 1, read it a couple of years ago. Essentially, it's billed as like found family, space gays smashing the patriarchy, which is fun. It was fun. This one didn't quite work for me. I don't really have a lot to say about it. It was just a very middling, okay 3-star. Continues the journey of this found family as they try to grapple with what their mission is and what they want to do to try to better things, and is their journey of betterment the best for everyone the lives that they're trying to save and change. So that was fun. Other than that, it was 3 stars. The art's still great. The art's really great. The character designs are really great. But it was I wish I liked it more than the first. I wished I liked it as much as I did the first volume, but I just didn't. 3 stars was fun. That's all. Okay, so that's all I read. Moving on to what I'm currently reading. I finally bit the bullet and I started Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 2 in the Stormlight Archive. I really loved Way of Kings when I read it last year. This one, I ended up buying the ebook because I had the mass market of The Way of Kings, and that was a beast to read, like, in person. These books are over 1,000 pages long, and I was not buying the really big, tall paperback that's like $20, like F that. So I'm reading it on my Kindle. I'm about 8 to 10% in. I don't have a lot to say about it right now because nothing's happening, but stuff is happening, which is hard to explain. Yeah, it's going fine. Not a lot to say about it. What else I'm also reading? I started Hyperion by Dan Simmons. This is a sci-fi horror classic. I am 175 pages in, and I am really enjoying this a lot. Like, I expected to enjoy it, but I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would, especially when I learned after I bought it and decided to read it that it reads a lot like the Canterbury Tales, where it's these 6 travelers on a pilgrimage and they're each telling their story. But the thing about this, what makes it interesting, is that it's not really a pilgrimage. It is a pilgrimage, but not really. And their stories, they all have a reason to be here. And that reason is this really creepy freaking creation Dan Simmons has come up with called the Shrike. And the first story, which is, oh my God, the religious guy, the priest, that was creepy. And then the second story is of the soldier, and that was, I finished it and I was just like, what the fuck am I reading? It's so weird. It's so creepy. It's really successful in what he's doing. So I'm really enjoying it. I do have to read it strategically, because when I start it, all I want to do is finish that character's portion. And this is 2 characters' portions, so they're big chunks of reading. So I have to be careful that I'm not reading this until like 3 a.m. because that's all I want to do, which is exciting because I love it when I'm reading a book and all I want to do is keep reading it. So Hyperion by Dan Simmons. I'm gonna put, like, I think what is the classic, like, original cover for it, so you get half an idea of like this shrike creature that is going on. It is so creepy. And I think it gets even creepier because I've seen so much talk of this being like an incredibly creepy thing, especially with the Shrike. And so far what I've seen with the Shrike of the first two characters, like if it gets worse and worse, like I'm in for a ride. So Hyperion by Dan Simmons. This is going well. So yeah, that's all I've got. This is a bit all over the place. I'm still not feeling 100%, but just keep reading. I'm just keeping reading. I'm just keeping going. And luckily what I'm reading right now is just stuff that I want to be reading. So no TBR set, nothing else. I thought I would have a lot more plans and stuff to do, but at this point I'm reading as comfort. So thank you for watching, and hopefully next time when I'm here next week, I feel a little better and we'll have a little bit more energy and excitement. So see you then. Bye.